Chris. I have an idea. Anyway, what's up, viewers? You guys alive?
Hello, everyone. I hope you all are having a really good day today. Welcome to the Two Idiot Gamers podcast, episode 23. I am Chris.
And I'm AC. We have cranked up the idiot on today's podcast. I'm not going to lie. We've cranked up idiot to as high as possible. And that's because we think it's incredibly funny to do that. Or at least I do. Chris likes to pretend he's serious and takes everything seriously, even though that's a complete lie.
I guess sometimes I'm in a serious mood, sometimes I'm not. I guess it really depends on the day and what I'm feeling at the time.
Yeah, I couldn't take life seriously if my life depended on it, which is why I'm in trouble, because life is too absurd to take seriously. We're a bunch of breathing atoms who complain about things, so why take it seriously?
How are you doing, AC? How are you doing today?
I'm doing good. I've had a chaotic day where it started kind of chilled, doing nothing. Actually, no, I was doing edits. I finished a bunch of editing work. I chilled. And then I ended up streaming with Saber, right?
Yeah.
So we built up. Because we're doing basically what's the word for it? Tests. We're running tests for our big fundraising. I say fundraising, but it's personal funds, so we can afford stuff we need to improve some of our streaming stuff.
Yeah.
And so it's funds for gear, basically gear funding. And so we were doing our tests, right? Which started with us playing a bit of Alien Isolation, which we're playing through Parsec, which means I'm in control of keyboard stuff, so walking around, interactions. She's in charge of the mouse.
Yeah.
So that means she's in charge of using the flamethrower. She's in charge of using the guns. She's in charge of where we look. It didn't go well because we're both a pair of smooth-brained morons.
Yeah.
It was very fun, but we're kind of dumb, right? So that went. We kind of got it working. We're like, okay, cool, this works. This is great. Now we're kind of bored of this. Let's do something else. So we swapped to playing Crash Bandicoot, Insane Trilogy, again through Parsec on my so Parsec through my computer. We were playing it. We got a little bit too into it, to the point of near obsession.
Yeah.
And it was very fun. We had way too much fun with it because it felt like being when you're a kid and you're playing with your cousin, your bigger cousin, and you're bonding with your cousin, but they're also helping you through video game stuff. So they're giving you hints, or they're just outright doing stuff for you. That's basically what we were doing. That's basically exactly what we were doing, and it was stupid as hell. And I had way too much fun doing it.
That was great. Was that Saber's first time playing Crash Bandicoot?
No. From what I can tell, she played it as a kid, so she played the original one, which, from what I remember of it, was a bit more forgiving in some of the platforming stuff, where hitboxes and stuff were. It's a bit more forgiving than the Insane Trilogy, which is the version we were playing.
Yeah.
So we were playing the slightly harder one, but we had excessive amounts of fun playing it.
That's good.
It was ridiculous, but it was fun. And we just had a lot of fun doing it. That's kind of why we got really into it, and we really just started jamming it like mad, is because we just got really into it. How about you, Chris? What did you do today? Did you wake up and then go, do you know what I think?
Yeah, I gotta wait on AC and Saber while they do their crazy dumb stuff.
And have the best time the whole time doing it.
But what I've been up to this week is I've been playing a lot of Date Everything. Date Everything being a dating simulator type game where you get these glasses called Date Viators, go around your house and awaken different objects to You can awaken your fridge, or like your coffee maker, or like your dryer, or like your hamper that has dirty clothes in it, and they're all voiced by different voice actors and have like their own unique personalities. Uh,
That
I
sounds
don't,
the most cursed. That sounds like one of the most cursed things I've ever heard of in my entire life.
yeah, like if you had them AC and you like awakened some of your lightsabers, they'd probably be a guy, a girl, or like some non-binary person, and you definitely probably want to date them. Maybe they'd all be like
I,
one person or something. I don't know.
well, I have three. One of them would be an old man who's just kind of died a bit. One of them would be the fanciest thing on planet Earth,
Mm-hmm.
and the other one would just be a pretty face, but like that. Yeah, that's about it.
But I've
I would describe my three sabers.
dude,
Like,
I've been having such a good time with the game. There's a couple characters that I'm like ride or die. One is the desk, Dasha. She's a strong Russian woman. The next one is Mac, who is I'm guessing is like not non-binary because they go by they. It's the computer. Um, they're in a wheelchair, but like the wheelchair is like decked out in like uh, computer looking stuff. The next is the shelf called Shelly. I don't know if you've been seeing like the TikTok clips that I've been putting out, but
yeah, I'm seeing them. They've been doing numbers. They've been doing
yeah,
well.
she is like one of my favorites alongside Dasha and Mac. I mean, if you see her and you see the clip, then you can probably guess why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My only TikTok that's done like kind of numbers was the one about Chewie just being a real strange animal and just being like, "Ha, mom's home. I'm gonna sit in the front seat, and that's where I shall sit." And I'm like,
Yeah, that was the one that got
She
posted
just
what
drove
today,
home.
right?
"That was yesterday."
Yesterday.
But like, it genuinely is what happened. Like, Linda got home and Chewie was like, "I must sit here. I must get in the car
Mm-hmm.
that has just arrived home. It's not going anywhere, and I must sit here." Why? He's such a weird dog.
But yeah,
I mean,
date
it was very
everything.
cute, but it was very weird.
Yeah, but definitely date everything is probably one of my all-time favorite games this year. Um, I'll tell you that a game has a hold on me when I'm at work and I'm thinking about all the stuff that I did like the previous day in the game and I'm like all giddy and stuff, looking forward to playing it more when I got home for like streaming and stuff. Um, it's like something like that. I don't know if you've had something like that where something you've played or like ingested that just gets you like giddy to get back to it.
I think I kind of had that a little bit when I first played the Old Republic, the
Mhm.
MMO,
Yeah.
but that was long ago. I haven't felt that for that game in a long time. Like it kind of I lost interest just due to like getting a bit repetitive. So I don't know. I haven't had many games that I think actually Witcher 3 had that hold on me for like.
That's a good game. Yeah.
No, it had that hold on me for like a month, and then it was gone. I don't know. I haven't had that in a little while. Oh, Jedi Survivor. That happened with fucking Jedi Survivor, where I was always constantly just like, I need to go play this. To the point of like, because I tend to like watching YouTube videos and stuff while I play games and stuff.
Mhm.
I ended up rewatching some YouTube videos like 4 or 5 times because I just didn't ingest a single fucking word that was said, and I was just playing this game and like laser focused, and it was very weird to me. Because that doesn't happen often. Usually I get kind of distracted from the game, or it helps me like, focus on stuff.
Yeah.
Jedi Survivor is just like laser focused to the point of I beat it twice in basically the same span of time because I was streaming it on a higher difficulty than I was playing it offline.
Mhm.
So when I beat it offline, it felt like really easy because I've been playing it on like Jedi Grandmaster on stream, getting my ass beat.
Yeah.
But like I was very obsessed with that game at the time. It was a problem.
And I would say that I'm really obsessed with Date Everything right now. Uh, just that I can see like the characters that I've like fallen in love with, and see like talk to them and like interact with them and stuff, and even meeting new characters. Like there is this new character named Bo. She's voiced by Laura Bailey, who voiced Ellie in the Last of Us game, as well as Petra in the Minecraft story mode. Who
Oh.
the game that Minecraft story mode is the game that I recently played and I really liked. Petra was like one of my favorite ones, and more so than Ellie, I would say. Ellie's cool, don't get me
I
wrong, but
don't know. I've never played The Last of Us, and I watched one of my friends play a bit of the beginning, and I watched like we played through. I say I never played. I kind of helped play through the first like hour of the game, and my opinion of it was I will never play this game.
yeah,
I have zero interest in ever playing The Last of Us. It just I know a lot of people like it's such a great game and it's amazing, and I'm like, it looks fine. It just looks like another zombie survival game, if I'm honest.
yeah,
And
it's
I've played like so many of those.
yeah, it's fair. It's the first one is really good, and the second one's good too. They're mainly really violent survival games. Um, they have some really good sneaking sections too. But going back to Bo, if you look up her character, she's basically just Indiana Jones, but she's like a box. So like all her clothes are just like box looking with tape and stuff, and instead of a whip, she has a power cord, like a power strip that she keeps like keeps attached to her.
So she looks like a hobo. Like a hobo who's wearing their house.
No, there is a hobo character. there is a like a hobo character. He's like comprised of all like the junk stuff that you have in your drawer in your desk. And what he does is he likes making the junk into like art in order to get people to come and look at it. It's like it's so funny, like so much of like the characters that you interact with in this game like have their own distinct personalities. There's one that I really like named Mateo. He's a blanket, and he's super like cute and like soft and everything. What he does is that he's like a real animal dude. He's like he rescues a bunch of animal like blanket creatures called inanimals. So they're basically dogs, but they're made out of like fabric. So like if hold on, I could probably in animals date everything. There's one that he has that's called Davy that you have to find during his whole quest line. It's like a kind of like a greyhound looking dog, but Mateo's like probably one of my favorite ones outside of like the big top 3 that I told you before. Hold on, let me get you this picture. But yeah, the game is like so cool. There's like a fan called Fantina, and she's like a really big fan of yours, like literally. So she's like a standing fan, and she has like a fan club that's like dedicated to you. And then I don't want to, if you guys want to hear spoilers, but the game's been out for like a while. It turns out that she's like a big stalker. There, I just sent the picture in the group chat.
I mean, you should put it up for anyone watching the live. They should see what we've got up there.
I just have to download it again. 1 second. Yeah, like Fantina's like she's a big fan, and I just put up a little clip of it today on my TikTok. But she basically shows you like the shrine she has. It has a really weird name, but it's like comprised of like stuff that you most likely see, like nail clippings, hair, pictures, stuff like that. And it's just like it comes completely out of nowhere.
Interesting.
Okay, hold on. Let me show you guys the picture of Mateo and the Inanimals. It's the quality on the picture's a little bit shit, but it's basically it's just like it's like dogs, but they're made out of like fabric and other stuff. No dachshunds, which really sucks. Which really sucks. But hey, can't have everything, right? But yeah, the game is definitely worth buying and playing. Really good. One thing I will say about the game that is really disappointing is that once you romance like a character and you go back to talk to him, you can't really do much with them outside of just like giving them a hug or a kiss. You can't like go on dates with them again, which does really suck. I have heard that they are planning, like the developers of the game are planning on adding like more interactions and date stuff with the characters, which is good.
I mean, yeah, of course. If it's a game called Date Everything, you need more dating to happen.
Yeah, I think there's like 100+ characters, and they're all like distinctly voiced by different voice actors. So I'm not expecting them to do something for like every single character, but if they could, that'd be cool.
I mean, depends how dedicated they are, because Larian did it for the Baldur's Gate, didn't they?
Yeah.
Like, you get very specific interactions with all the characters, and there's like a fuck of a lot of interactions you can have with everyone.
Yeah, there's like a bunch of interactions with every single character.
I'm willing to bet you didn't even get all the ones for like Karlach. Even the like positive ones, you didn't get all of them.
Yeah, probably. But still, really good game.
Yeah, no.
Such an amazing game. I really suggest that you maybe check it out, AC. Because I think there would be like some characters that that you would really like.
I'll have to take a peek. Mind you, the things I end up playing are usually really dumb, because I have a love for like very strange. I mean, I've been playing Hotline Miami as well, which is more like mainstream violent weirdness. But then I'm also like, cool. I'm gonna go and play. What was that game called? Fucking. It was a really Star Wars Jedi Knight Mysteries of the Sith, a game no one's ever fucking heard of from the 90s. We're like, what?
Which Hotline Miami were you playing? The first or the second one?
I have no fucking clue. It's just the one called. No, it's 2. It was wrong number.
Oh yeah, the sequel. Yeah, that's a good one too.
I mean, it was like a Christmas present. Like half the games I've been playing are just like stuff that people have given me, and I'm like, cool, I'll play that.
Yeah.
Sure, why not? Sounds fun.
Also, I've
also been playing like Spore, which is a back in the day game.
Yeah.
War is fun though. It's still fun. It's stupid as fuck, but it's fun.
A long time ago game.
It's so much fun though.
I also sent you something in the group chat. Apparently Star Wars came out recently with an updated galaxy map.
Yeah. It's based on a bunch of stuff from like I'm trying to remember now because I saw it as well on the subreddit. But like it was a fairly new thing where it was like showing the map as updated by like both Lucasfilm. I mean, it's not that different to the OG map. It's just a little bit like there's a bunch of new planets that were added because of like stuff like the Acolyte.
Yeah.
And
they're scary.
The High Republic. Yeah, but like it also shows like the vastness. So like planets being like on the outer rim genuinely means they're really fucking far away, and then the unknown
Yeah.
regions are like really hard to get to.
Yeah, this is like the first time I've ever looked at a Star Wars galaxy map before. So like when they say outer rim, they really mean outer rim. It's like really, really far away. So
It's fascinating to me that
yeah.
they have a lot of stories in the outer rim.
Mm-hmm.
Like a lot of this, there's a lot of stories that just take place purely in the fucking outer rim for some reason, but like a lot of stories take place at like,
Wow, Adon is close to Dathomir, huh?
yeah.
That's funny.
But like Dathomir is also a planet that not many people go to because it's got a reputation for having witches, and the witches are like scary. Even in like both versions of the lore, so legends and canon. And I'm assuming this is a canon map because I'm not seeing places like Leon or Rakatha Prime. So there are some planets that like, and I'm not seeing. Where is the there it is, Scylla.
I'm just looking for Tatooine. Oh, there's Dantooine.
You have to look near Hut Space and find Naboo, because remember so you have to remember like how they say what's close to what, based entirely off the movies, because they're like Tatooine is in
there's
Hut Space because
Kashyyyk.
it's controlled by the.
Kashyyyk.
It should be mid-rim. It's also interesting to me that like
Karnak.
there's a lot of planets. Null Hutter. Oh yeah, no Shadaz.
It's just really interesting that they came out with something like this. So you get like a nice understanding where everything is located, because in Phantom Menace, I think, they reference like how far away they are in the Outer Rim compared to like Coruscant.
Okay,
so they make.
It's weird because so they're not in the Outer Rim when they're on Naboo. They're in the mid rim. So Naboo is like in this pink section somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
It should be close to one of the pink hut spaces.
But isn't Tatooine in the Outer Rim?
Yes. Oh, there it is. Tatooine. Naboo is. I found Naboo, which is like near the Galactic South. I say Galactic South, it just means you know to look towards the bottom of the map to find it. It just when it's close. Remember, they've got hyperspace. It usually means that there's a hyperspace lane. They'll go like straight and makes it really easy to hop. But also, just because it's controlled by the huts doesn't necessarily mean it's in hut space. And Ryloth is really fucking far out there. I don't understand why anyone wants Ryloth. It's in the middle of fucking nowhere.
Yeah, there's the Clone Wars episode where they have to retake Ryloth, and Ryloth is apparently like a big deal because Hera is from Ryloth, and like there's that whole one episode in I think Rebels where they Thrawn goes to Ryloth in order to try to find the Hera's, all that shit.
To find the Syndulla stuff.
Yeah. It's so much. Oh, there's Yavin. Huh.
It's such a big galaxy though, and I love it.
Yeah, it's so huge. Oh, there's Coruscant. Deep core. Wow.
Yeah, Coruscant's deep core. The part of the reason why Coruscant ended up as like the capital is because it's very central to the rest of the galaxy. So it's in the core. It's not deep core. That's like Bis Tython. It's also interesting because deep core and the unknown regions have similar problems to navigation. Deep core has like, from what I remember, it's really hard to navigate because there's a lot of black holes. Which is just going off the science that a lot of galaxies have like either black hole clusters or a super black hole in their centers. So part of this deep core being hard to find is it's just got like black holes everywhere, which is why Tython, which is one of the Jedi homeworlds, it's like one of the original planets the Jedi came from. It's there in Ahch-To, which are really far apart, but like Tython was one of the worlds in the old Republic where the Jedi had a base that was hidden away. It's also the planet that they go to in Mandalorian Season 2 that Grogu has that like meditation on a rock.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah.
that's Tython. So that's on Tython.
I wonder, is KOTOR and that whole map area of KOTOR like still considered canon, or is it?
It's considered canon by, well, I consider it still canon because nothing that really happens in it conflicts with anything else that is canon. So my kind of rule for what I consider canon to be is, as long as it doesn't conflict with something that's hard canon, like the movies,
Yeah.
it's canon to me. So it's like, that's the rule I live by. As long as it doesn't conflict with anything that is hardcore like,
Oh, there it is.
certified canon by Lucasfilm.
There's Tatooine.
What were you
Wow,
looking
it's
for?
like it's really close to Geonosis.
Yeah.
Huh. That's
There's
crazy.
a reason. There's a reason why in
Oh, there's Rhodia.
episode 2 they just have like a quick hop over to it. They go from Naboo, they go from Tatooine to Geonosis. Like they're next to each other. Naboo is Tatooine. It's very weird to me though that they went to Tatooine for repair parts because that means they went away from Coruscant. Then they oh, I know why they did. Okay, never mind. That was a stupid line.
That is crazy. So, Tatooine, Geonosis, Rhodia, and then Ryloth are like so close together. Huh. And then Kashyyyk is up here. Kashyyyk being the Wookiee homeworld, right? If I'm remembering correctly. Yeah, right here.
Yes.
Where's Endor? Endor.
Also, keep in mind, some systems don't have necessarily the same name as the planets you're aware of.
Yeah.
I mean, think in the map, they're probably going to not use the in-universe system of the, like, system names. They're going to use the planets because everyone's more familiar with the planet names. But there's Eriadu, which is a big fucking problem within the High Republic books. Or at least it's quite important within those books, and a lot of shit happens there. I'm reading one of the last books now, and it's starting
oh, there's
to kick
Kessel.
off bullshit there.
There's Kessel, the Kessel run.
Kessel's very galactic north. It's very interesting how like far apart everything is.
Yeah.
I quite like it.
I wonder if Gorman is on here. Has to be, right? I haven't seen it.
Remember, it's a big galaxy. There's a lot of systems.
Yeah.
I think there's like 1,000 something here that, as far as I can remember, have all had something in the lore. They've actually had like something happen there. There's a story that took place there on all of these planets that I can think of.
Luke Paul, that one sounds familiar.
That was I mean, there's also Stew John. See, we've had Stew John. Do you know what? Fun fact, chat. Do you guys know what's important about Stew John? The planet Stew John.
What? Dragon Void.
So, the funniest story behind the planet Stew John, right, is Jon Stewart once interviewed George Lucas, right?
Oh, right. I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah, and he asked, what planet is Obi-Wan Kenobi from?
He just came up with it on the spot. I don't know, Judon.
He literally looked at him and went, he's from Stew John. He looked at him and Jon Stewart was like, did you just name a planet after me? He's named after his planet's named after Jon Stewart.
That's great. Man. It's so nice, like scrolling through the map and seeing like the planets that you're somewhat familiar with, like Dathomir, Aten.
Yeah, Dathomir is a weird. See if you could find Moraban or Korriban, whichever fucking name they used. Same planet.
Wait, Dathomir and Korriban are the same planet?
No, Moraban or Korriban. The home planet of the Sith, or at least the Sith's like main big base.
Have you found it?
No.
Okay. Korriban. Corvus.
Remember, it might be called Moraband, so just kind of look for something called Oraband. The first letters could be K or M.
I'm looking like at the more like the Outer Rim planets, because I would expect like a Sith homeworld would be somewhere close in the Outer Rim.
Could also be somewhere in the unknown regions, like Ahch-To, which is...
Oh, there's Mustafar.
Oh, Rakata Prime! I found Rakata Prime! It's out in the unknown regions. Okay, that's cool that actually exists.
Damn, Mustafar is out there. Jesus.
Yeah, so Rakata Prime is fucking cool that they included that, because that is the planet that the final battle of KOTOR takes place over, is Rakata Prime, or it's the name it had later on, which was Leon. Oh, yeah, Leon. I
wonder if you could find the planet in the KOTOR 2 takes place in, where Nihilus becomes Nihilus. He gets hit by the weapon and becomes like
I know what you're talking about. They actually go there in Rebels. They go to that world.
Oh, that's good. So it is canon.
at the end of season 2, they go there. I just can't remember what it's called. Moraband.
Yeah, I've seen most recently. I've been seeing a bunch of TikToks about Nihilus and how fucking scary and crazy he is.
Nihilus is weird because he's also really depressing, if you think about it, because he's like a wound in the Force where it's not even his fault that he became like he did, where he's like incredibly powerful, but he also was damaged by it, and that hunger kind of reduced him to just like a spirit that was bound to his mask.
Mm-hmm.
And like killing him was difficult. Oh, they got... Oh, the Nogori homeworld is there. Honoghr. Okay. Edu. Holy shit. Why did the Empire have everyone hiding out in Edu? It's on the other side of Hutt space. Fucking Imperial Empire. Arrogant assholes. Let's see what next.
I haven't found the Sith homeworld.
You haven't found Moraband? I haven't either. I am looking. It's somewhere here. We are doing Spot the Planet!
Great Zilk. Great Zilk.
They have some dumb names for planets.
Yeah. Yaga Min.
I do want to know where Stu John is. Also, Obi-Wan apparently has a brother there somewhere. So that's an interesting thought.
That's the first time I've heard about it. I didn't even know Obi-Wan had a brother.
He mentions it if you pay attention in Kenobi. He tells Leia he had a brother. An older brother. Which is hilarious because that just sounds like Ewan McGregor being like, I have an older brother.
Granted, I haven't seen Kenobi since it came out, so...
Yeah, I rewatched it and I still think it's... If you cut out like half of it, it's really good. But like the problem is it meanders so badly with some of the plot that it just loses it gains some momentum, then loses it instantly by going off on random tangents that don't help build anything. Ooh, cash. They don't help build up anything, and it's very irritating. Gand is such a weird world. So Luke, am I? Oh, Outer Rim.
I wonder, the Mortis couple episodes, are they on a planet or?
They're on Mortis. It's called the Mortis arc because it takes place on Mortis, which is... Mortis is weird because
is it a planet?
Yes, but actually no.
Okay, so
it's like its own like weird dimension thing.
Like pocket dimension?
Yeah. It's like that, but also nothing like that. It's very weird because it's like a manifestation of the Force itself.
Yeah.
So it's a really fucking weird thing.
It'd be so cool to see Mortis on here.
The easiest way, I would tell you though, the easiest way to tell important thing. Oh, Chandrila. That's Mon Mothma's homeworld. Right there by Coruscant. So you see all the big lines that go through the galaxy, right? You see these white...
Yeah, those are hyperspace lanes, right?
Yeah, so now you can kind of tell where important worlds are, or ones that were probably important during the Clone Wars, and where big battles would have taken place. Because anything along those hyperspace lanes, if you control that world, you can kind of control trade going across those worlds. So you'll see there's a lot of stuff that happens on these. Or it should.
Oh, there's Yavin. Yeah.
Brilliant. Right?
I'm
Yavin?
looking. Yeah, I'm looking at 5. Hyperspace lane 5, and Yavin is like close to that one.
Oh, it's on the Hydian way. Yeah.
Some
cool planets out there.
And there's
Star Wars is
Dathomir.
such you found Dathomir again.
Well, now,
Moribund. I think Moribund is Korriban. Moribund is the one we were looking for, which is right next to the Hydian way. If you go all the way to the end of it, there's this little bubble of hot space, and then Ziost. Ziost? Wait, am I thinking of the right planet?
AC sounded like he just saw like the second coming of Jesus.
Is this the planet I think it is? Did they actually make this canon? Right?
It's so
They fucking did! Holy shit, they made this planet fucking... This is the planet I thought it was.
It's so cool hearing AC geek out about Star Wars stuff.
Okay, dude. So Ziost is super important, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because Ziost, the system of Ziost, is where you would find... It's... So Ziost is also the planet you were looking for the end of KOTOR 2 is Malachor.
Mm-hmm.
You're looking for like Malachor 5 or something. You're just looking for the Malachor system. Anyway, so Ziost was the planet that was the capital city or the capital planet of the Sith Empire back during the Old Republic. The fact that it's canon means that it kind of just pushes towards that idea of the Sith Empire being canon.
Yeah.
So,
man.
Moribund, Ziost, those are... Ooh, that's cool.
Seeing all these planets and like seeing you talk about like the Sith homeworld being canon now, just makes me wish that we can get like a Sith show in the future that takes place in that.
I mean, I kind of think they should go into that era. It'll be way more interesting for everyone if they go to the era of that and then have like a story. I mean, if you guys want to hear my fucking pitch for a Star Wars show, would literally be a story about a Jedi in the Old Republic, right? Rising from Padawan to Knight. Let's say Padawan to Knight. And then, but in the same show, parallel going is Sith apprentice going from apprentice to like Sith Lord.
Yeah.
Right? And how those two orders kind of rising through rising through ranks is very different for those two people, and how they have to like change to be able to rise to that. And also why you really don't want to be a fucking Sith, man. It sucks. Like, there's a lot of people online, especially the weird chuds of the internet, who are all like, oh, I'd be a Sith because they can be emotional. It's like, no, well, maybe you would, but that's because you're kind of an emotionally crippled idiot. It doesn't work like that. And it's not nice to be a Sith, because the whole idea with the Sith is, yes, they are encouraged to feel emotion and stuff.
It's funny
But,
that
like,
you mentioned that, the whole thing with emotions and attachment. I saw a post, I think it was on Twitter or Reddit, that apparently there was a Jedi that got married and Yoda was like completely cool with it.
No, they didn't get married. Actually, it was more complicated than that. So there's like two instances of this, right? The first instance being a Jedi who he took a break from the Order. He didn't leave. He left, but he kind of took a break to explore being a romance he had, or they had with like a circus performer, right? And they went through a very big whirlwind romance, and it kind of ended acrimoniously, where both parties kind of just ended it as like a full romance that just it didn't work out. So it ended. And the guy went, and the Jedi went back to the Jedi, and they just were like, okay, cool, and they let him back in. They were chilled. Then there's a pair of Jedi who are known as Elzar Mann and Avar Kriss, who are in the High Republic. They were like a big main story. In fact, I think the last book they were in was their like romance coming out story. And it's very pretty, it's very beautiful, but the reason why they are allowed to do it is because they had an agreement between themselves to kind of not be attached. So they're in love, they share an apartment, they're in love, they're genuinely a couple. But because Jedi have this risk of attachment driving you to the dark side, as we see with Anakin, they put the Jedi being a Jedi above their romance. And they had this agreement between themselves. Like, they agreed to it. It's not like another thing. They just decided together that they're like, okay, we love each other, we want this to work, but we are going to put the Jedi above our romance. So if something happens in the galaxy where the Jedi are needed, we put that before ourselves. And it works for them because they agreed to it. The problem with Anakin is he tried to do everything in secret. He didn't like outright tell anyone, so he didn't admit to it. And he got like really possessive over Padme to an unhealthy degree.
Mm-hmm.
And that's part of what led to him falling to the dark side.
So unhealthy attachments is bad, but healthy relationships are good when it comes to like the Jedi.
Yeah, they have to be healthy and they have to have like very specific boundaries. They have to be very big on their communication. Like, it's just basically like, it's fine as long as you have an actual healthy relationship. The Jedi are cool with it.
Okay, so Jedi can be in like relationships.
Yeah, there's even interviews with George Lucas saying like, Jedi aren't celibate. They're just, people just assume that because they're like monk coded.
Mm-hmm.
So people assume they're celibate, but they're not. They don't have to be. A lot of them choose to be, but that's more just like a weird dedication to the Force. It's not something the code or even the order as a whole says you have to do. It's just a personal choice. And that's fine.
So like Obi-Wan and Satine could have been together.
That was complicated because think about it like this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Obi-Wan and Satine would have had. It's worse with Obi-Wan and Satine than even Anakin and Padme. And I think part of the reason that they didn't is because the two orders or the two like cultures they belong to are diametrically opposed to each other. They're like natural enemies. And I think part of the reason they chose not to like pursue anything is because if they had, it could have led to like a genuine fucking war. Because you know, Satine's the Duchess of Mandalore, and Obi-Wan was a Jedi Padawan / and became one of the Jedi Council members. Like,
did Obi-Wan meet Satine before or after becoming a Jedi Master?
He met her when he was a Padawan. They were kids, dude. He was still with Qui-Gon when they met.
Oh.
He met her on he went on a mission with Qui-Gon to protect her.
I didn't know that. Okay.
So they went on it was a year-long mission together as well. They were together for a year for this fucking mission. So they had romance. There's a reason why it's seen as like they had this big romance and kind of came together and they fell as deeply in love as they're like depicted as.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. So it's just because they were together for a year and they went through a lot. Also, apparently, when they, I mean, there's a lot of you don't get, as far as I know, there's no like official canon stories about that yet, which I think is kind of a lost opportunity. It'd be really cool to see like if they did a Kenobi season 2, right, or anything more with Obi-Wan. I would have it be him telling those stories, like maybe an anime series about Obi-Wan and that year of Obi-Wan and Satine being together.
Yeah, I feel like animated would be better.
Just because Ewan McGregor's too old.
Well,
But
yeah, that,
it
and they can just get the voice actors back that were
yeah,
Satine and Obi-Wan in the Clone Wars.
yeah. But the main reason I said is because they would also need a Qui-Gon
Mm-hmm.
because he was there that whole time. They would need a whole thing, and I don't know. I like that romance because I like the fact that it's kind of this weird star-crossed lovers type deal,
Yeah.
and I'm a sucker for that nonsense.
And if I remember,
And
like, Obi-Wan even says, like, if you asked me to leave, I would have left.
yeah, if you'd asked me to leave, I would have gone with you. And I'm like, yeah,
It just makes it even more sad that she just dies in the Clone Wars. Man, Obi-Wan really goes through a lot when you look back at it. He loses, like, his main love interest, his master, and his, like, brother.
Obi-Wan lost everything and still became like a proper Jedi master. He rose above his pain. And he
Yeah.
still managed to save his brother when his brother died, but he managed to like draw him back into the light. Redeemed in the eyes of the Force. Even if he did some fucked up shit.
Did you hear about
But,
the Darth Maul TV show that they're
Yes,
working
I've
on
been
right now?
seeing a lot of it. Yeah, I'm quite excited for it because that's a pretty awesome idea.
Yeah, ever since Solo and the post-credit scene where it has Darth Maul in it, I'm like, oh man, what happens with that? With him like being like a criminal like leader. And then they just
Or rather,
never
how does he go?
yeah, they just never expanded on it until now.
Well, no, they just hadn't yet because they had other stories they wanted to tell.
Mhm.
And then Sam Witwer was like, "No, this is a story I think we should tell." And like, as far as I can tell, he's the one who pitched it and was like, "Yeah, we should tell this story now." And they're now actively telling the story because it's a good story to tell, and it's of a character who has something to do. Where there's like there's lots of story potential. Like, there's more story potential there than what Obi-Wan had because, I mean, there are stories you could tell that would be kind of fun if you did them in like anthology with Obi-Wan with protecting Luke on Tatooine, but like
Yeah.
all in his full on like crime boss. And how did he go from crime boss to a hermit on Malachor?
Yeah. That's what I was gonna say.
Where you meet him.
Yeah, in Rebels, he's like all skinny. He still has his like lightsaber, but he uses it like a cane.
No, he has a different one. He doesn't. He lost the lightsaber you see him have at the end of Clone Wars. He has a different lightsaber.
Oh, okay. So I'm looking forward to seeing how they explain like where Maul went at the end of Clone Wars / Solo.
Yeah.
And leading up into Rebels.
Yeah. And how he came to clash with Vader, because there's a very big implication in Rebels that he fought Vader at some point and lost badly. Because he's hiding on Malachor. Like, he's not in charge of like big crime organizations anymore. He's not doing anything. He's hiding out on a planet in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
So there's this big implication that he had a clash with Vader, and Vader either almost killed him or just like crushed his like spirit to try and fight the Empire by building a criminal enterprise to like rival them. Instead, he just sort of vanished. So I'm convinced he fought Vader, and Vader almost killed him.
All right, so I have a big question for you. At their peak, who do you think would have won, Maul or Vader?
Vader, easily.
Vader,
when he's like fully immersed in the dark side, at his full Darth Vader is so much more powerful than Maul. Like Maul shows like powerful feats.
Yeah, he was able to keep himself alive after getting like cut in half. Which apparently they talk about it in like a Clone Wars spin-off comic, And
Yeah,
I saw some people say like in the comments of a post on that on like Star Wars. Apparently he absorbs his legs to keep himself alive.
it's not he absorbs his legs. His legs got like destroyed. It's more like he cannibalized his own legs.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's closer to he ate his own legs, which is really fucked up. But like that, from what I remember the panels, that's what it looks more like. And then he like builds himself new legs out of some like junk droids and
Yeah,
other scrap he finds.
and that's how we get like Spider Maw in the
Yeah.
one Clone Wars episode.
Well, in the Clone Wars episode where his brother finds him like
Yeah,
completely mad and alone,
with
and
a
just driven
fucking
by his
snake.
hatred for Obi-Wan, like a snake thing. It's very weird.
Yeah, that the only really weird thing that I felt about like that whole Maul being secretly alive thing was not the spider legs, but like the snake that was just there. That was like the only thing that I found like the weirdest. Like, why is a snake here, and why hasn't Maul like killed it by now?
And I think it's just because it would constantly bring him food.
Ah, okay.
It would just like lure people to him, and then he would just kill and eat whatever it brought to him. Because there's an implication that it would eat whatever he didn't, and
Hmm.
that's why it would bring things to him. They're like, okay, that makes sense.
There's a planet named RTK-111. Huh.
I maybe. Yeah, there are some weird planets that just have weird names. I wonder if.
I found Scarif. Oh, okay.
Nice.
Well, it's Wick Bent.
It's also interesting that they. Did you find Jeddah yet?
I think. Oh, there's Endor. Huh. Man, Endor is like really far away.
Yeah, dude. Everything is just weirdly far from everything else. I mean, it's a galaxy, so not everything can be like, oh, close together and
Yeah.
cramped. It's
Where
like
where
it's
was
spread out.
where was the first Death Star at?
Near Alderaan, which was in the core. I don't think they. Ah, there it is. Alderaan.
Ah, there it is. It's funny that
So
they
that's
still
where.
have Alderaan here, even though it's destroyed.
Although remember, the first Death Star was a fully functioning like giant. It was basically just a giant starship. So when they destroyed it, it was over Yavin.
Yeah. It's still
But
it's
remember,
it
the Death Star's been to Jeddah, where it blew some. That was like where they first tested over Jeddah,
it
which
was
is in the
still so
mid-rim,
freaky
the
that
side.
it was able to like hyperspace jump and like maneuver.
Right. I
Like
mean, it couldn't maneuver, but it could go into hyperspace and like
yeah.
cover the galaxy, which makes sense if you think about what the Empire wanted to use it for. It's like, yeah, it makes sense. You could have this fucking thing just appear. Oh look, Utapau is so fucking close to Dagobah. Holy shit! I actually didn't know that those two planets are that close to each other.
I wonder if Starkiller base was able to like maneuver too.
Apparently not, but you'll have to find where Ilum is, which is not where it used to be. So in the old lore, it used to be in the unknown regions near where Sunrise now is.
Which Sunrise? There's Exegol.
Yeah, Exegol would be there. There it is, Scylla. So Scylla is the Exegol, Primea, Mahir, Ilum.
Oh.
Just go towards the main planet from Exegol. Like go towards the core from Exegol and you'll see it. Scylla is a really interesting planet because that is the home world of the Chiss.
What are the
Let's see,
Chiss?
what else? Thrawn's people.
Oh. Wow. crazy. They are like really out there.
Yeah. So they're hidden away in the unknown regions, and it makes it so. That's part of the reason why when Ron turned up, everyone was like, "Wait, what the fuck is this guy?" Because he's not a he doesn't look like a Pantoran. He doesn't. He's well, he kind of looks like a Pantoran because he has the same skin tone, but he has fucking bright red eyes.
And those are Senator Chuchi's people, right?
Yeah. Completely different species, though. They're
Still,
from Pandora.
yeah. Blue skin,
somewhere.
but Thrawn has red eyes and
no tattoos.
Yeah.
Because the Pantorans had like yellow tattoos / markings all over them that would like signify clans and hierarchy and stuff like that. Oh, Ketan Moida is in the colonies. So not the core, but just outside of it. The inner room. Oh, Jakku's in the inner room? Holy shit, Jakku's closer to everyone else than I thought. What a weird place. I thought it was like deep outer rim. It's the middle of the inner room. Why are you calling it inner room planet like the middle of bumfuck no? I'm like, no. Tatooine is. It's in the outer rim away from basically everyone useful except like Geonosis, but Geonosis was basically wrecked. Holy shit. Nakar, Avala, Rothala, Kadak, Edu, Tarkin's homeworld, Kessel, Ryan, Nimban, Dandoran.
Man, this is giving me like, remember when Skyrim came out and if you pre-ordered it, you got like a map of like Skyrim and you just put it on your wall?
Yeah.
This is like giving me vibes of that. It's just like looking everywhere like, oh, look, there's Dawnstar, there's Riften, there's Winterhold. I remember that place.
I mean, it's really cool seeing this galaxy because I'm like, I know a fair amount of these planets.
Oh, there's Mon Cala.
Like, on them. Yeah.
There's a planet called Lego.
There's a lot of like sneaky reference planets as well. Like I said, there's a planet named after like fucking Jon Stewart. So why wouldn't there be like some other weird references? Lego is a big part of Star Wars, right?
There's a planet called Troikin. I wonder if that's like...
No Troikin. I think it was referenced. There's a book it was referencing. Where the hell is...
God, I'm sorry. This is like a really semi like boring podcast episode, but we're just like so entranced with this map because it just gives us like a place where we can like put like the places that happen in the movies to mind in relation to each other.
It's not Lego. The planet's not called Lego. It's Iego. It's the planet of the angels.
That's Iego.
It's not. Oh, Attalon. Attalon?
FL.
Why is Attalon? Why does Attalon sound familiar? God, my brain has just decided. Oh, you know this planet? I'm not going to tell you why you know it, but you do. I'm like, oh my god, Lothal is really far out there. Holy shit! It's on the other side of Hutt space. Did not know that. Mon Cala, Strugper, Pyre.
Karnak.
Florum. Ooh, Hondo's planet, Florum. Love that. It is weirdly far away from everyone else.
Man, it'd be so cool to see Hondo in like a live action show or a movie.
Dude, a Hondo. I was expecting him. Full transparency, I thought he was going to appear in fucking Skeleton Crew, dude.
Oh yeah. That would have been cool. That would have been so cool.
The fucking pirate show, and they're like, we're not gonna have Hondo appear. I'm like, fucking why?
That would have been so cool.
The problem is, Hondo would have been worse than the guy that got, who was like double crossing them the whole time. Hondo would have double crossed them immediately.
Yeah.
And sold them as slaves, because if he was in the mood, he would have just like double crossed them, sold them as slaves, and left. And you would have been like, what the fuck was that? Hondo don't give a shit. Hondo is in it for the profit. You don't give a shit.
Yeah.
It depends where they turned up. Pankara, Pamba. What's it? Batu. Oh no. Ratata.
It would have been awesome to see Hondo in
Yeah.
Mandalorian too.
No, I mean we still might. There's
Yeah.
still a chance.
Yeah, and the Mandalorian and Grogu movie. But I will only accept it if they do what they did with Bane, where they just get like a live action person to play it, but they just dub over the voice with Hondo's voice from the Clone Wars.
Ooh, hell yeah. That would be sick.
Yeah, because
I mean,
his voice is so synonymous with the character.
If I'm not mistaken, I believe it's the same voice actor who does Winnie the Pooh. I'm pretty sure it's the same guy. I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's the same guy.
I gotta look this up. Hondo Ohnaka voice. Jim Cummings. Oh.
Pretty sure Jim Cummings is the guy who does Winnie the Pooh. Like 80% sure.
Aladdin, Lion King, Shrek, Princess and the Frog, Darkwing Duck, Winnie the Pooh, and voicing Tigger in the Tasmanian Devil.
Tigger, not. It's still a Winnie the Pooh character.
Yeah. Is he still alive? Okay, yeah, he is.
Yeah.
Thank God.
I watched the dude interview him like a few days. Like he genuinely got interviewed by a Star Wars creator like a few days ago about playing Hondo.
What did he say?
Really close to Dagobah. And Dagobah is really close. It's really, really close to the Rimmer trade route. What the fuck? It's like not even that far out there. Yoda, what the fuck was your shitty hiding spot?
There's a planet called Rusan.
Thing is, I can most of these planets. I like. The more I'm seeing, the more I'm like, I actually know some of these worlds. Dakar, ooh, Dakar is such a cool world. I'm trying to see if I can find some of the old Legends worlds that are like see which ones are canonized, including the ones from like the current Legends books I'm reading.
Yeah.
Which was called the Fate of the Jedi books, which is a really weird series because it all takes place after the Yuzong Vong War, which I don't know if you even know what that is. Was. So Yuzong Vong were like.
Good.
So Yuzong Vong were a extra galactic enemy. So they came from a different galaxy into this world, and they were technophobes. So they hated technology, and they hated the Force. So they were Force resistant. And they hated technology. They had these giant domes of like biological ships that were like made of like living matter, and like would wound them. And they had so many. They were just so weird.
Oh, that's cool. They're like xenomorphs then, almost.
Kind of, but they weren't like animalistic. They were like a full proper civilization. They were just kind of fucked up. And they kind of caused Jacen Solo, the original version of Ben Solo.
Mm-hmm.
So you know Ben from like Ben Solo or Kylo Ren. The original version was Jacen Solo, and he had almost exactly the same fucking story arc, where he went from although he also was like he had had a twin sister.
Mm-hmm.
So he had a twin sister named Jaina, who also was the one who killed him at the end of his evil thing, when he turned into Darth Kaidos and went full Sith. Yeah, the Jaina Jacen thing was depressing. They also had a younger brother named Anakin who got blown up with a planet before either of the twins died.
That reminds me of how Chewie died by a moon falling on him.
He died saving Anakin when he was young, when he was like 10, and then Anakin lived for another 7 years, and then he too blew the fuck up.
Oh, what I was gonna say before. There was a comment on like the Reddit. There was asking, who do you think is like the narrator in Star Wars? Because it starts with the long ago in a galaxy far, far away. Like, who says that? And like someone said, like,
Wills.
oh, it's the Wills.
Yeah, it's the Wills.
And then
So, but
it reminded me of the Guardians of the Wills, Chirrut Îmwe.
well, see, the Wills are what they're the guardians of.
Hmm.
Or yeah, the Wills are like force beings, and they kind of they document the galaxy. So if you ever read the books called the From a Certain Point of View, those are largely books that are written as if the authors were the Wills, who can look into the minds of those within the Force.
From a
And
certain
they're
point
just,
of view, 43 authors. Del Rey, 2017.
yeah, all three of those books have they're basically just collections of stories that take place over the original trilogy, but every time it's from a different character's point of view. But like when you read the last one, it's implied that the in-universe author, so not like the metatextual version of we had a lot of authors writing it, the in the Star Wars universe person writing these books is one of the Wills. Also, Yoda meets the Wills in Clone Wars season 6. Yoda goes on a force trip.
Was that the episode where he fought Darth Bane?
Yeah, but later on he goes to like I can't remember where he goes, but he meets a bunch of like weird looking dudes with they look like they have like masks. They're all like wearing different masks that show different emotions.
Oh yeah, I
All of
remember
them.
that part in the episode.
Those are the Wills. Those guys are the Wills. They're also like Force gods. They're really, really powerful Force gods. There's a reason why they're just like. I think basically everything Yoda's doing is cute and funny.
The midichlorians are the ones that communicate with the Wills. The Wills, in a general sense, they are the Force. From George
Yeah,
Lucas. George Lucas intended the Wills to be a microscopic single-celled life form who are essentially a god. The will of the Force, maintaining a symbiotic relationship with the midichlorians.
That was in the original version, but they did change in season 6 because the Wills became like more like weird monk gods. I think you have to also remember that like never assume the version of Star Wars that George Lucas wrote in the 70s is the same one he had in his head in like the 2000s. Because from what I can tell, the story kept evolving the more he wrote it, and it kept changing as to what he thought it was and should be. And I like that because it made it very interesting to like follow the story because it would keep evolving.
Yeah, there's a little excerpt that I'm looking at right now from the Wikipedia that says George Lucas's concept of the Wills aligns with the canon concept of the Will of the Force, which was held by the Cosmic Force. Lucas said that had he held on to Lucasfilm instead of selling it to Walt Disney, the sequel trilogy would have featured the microbiotic world of the Wills.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I don't know. I feel like once they try to like go more detail with the Force, it kind of like loses its luster. Like like the Force is actually just like midichlorians. There's like, and then like the midichlorians communicate with the Wills. They're microscopic organisms. They're not. It's like, kind of like.
No, I think what that just did was introduced more science fiction to it. So it made it more science fiction as science fantasy. So it's kind of like Star Trek having Q and then kind of explaining that Q's just another weird species that can do that.
Well, that's fine when it's Star Trek, because Star Trek isn't like one for like religion, mysticism, stuff like that. But when it's Star
What are you talking about? Of
Wars,
course it is. Of course it is. Star Trek's always been like that. It's always had its own version of mysticism. There was an entire movie of Star Trek where they literally met God.
but
Twice.
he was just an alien that was just masquerading as God.
No, they literally met God to the point of it was just a giant space gas thing.
Yeah, but it's not like
it wasn't even an alien.
It's not like God like how we see God.
Are you sure?
Oh my God, you know what I mean. It's not like, it's not there's it's not like really religion based. It's just like another alien anomaly. Like there's like a literal episode in Next Generation where Picard unknowingly breaks the Prime Directive and interferes with a developing proto Vulcan race, and then they think he's a god,
I
so they start
I
worshiping him,
remember that.
and like
It was
Picard's
stupid.
like, no, I'm not gonna lead into the delusion. I'm not going to take them back to the Stone Ages of like this religion, religious fanaticism, shit like that. He's like completely against it.
You can be against it, and it's still. But like, see, that's different, right?
I mean,
So in
if we're like talking about religion, like the most religious species in Star Trek would probably be the Bajorans, and it's explained that their gods are basically wormhole aliens.
yeah, but like, think of it like this, right? So you put a Star Trek character in the universe of Star Wars, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where you can scientifically prove the Force exists
Yeah.
because you can interact with it. It will, and like the things that people say they can do with the Force, they can genuinely do and repeatedly demonstrate that they can do. So therefore, in universe, it becomes a scientific fact of this thing exists. You can interact with it like this, and this is how you interact with it. It's just a way of going, these people are advanced, they have advanced technology, and they understand how their powers work to the point of they can be like, this is exactly how it works. And this is exactly how we know how it works, and how we can detect if somebody is powerful enough to be like need Jedi training, or they might be exploited, if that makes sense, right?
Yeah,
So like if you have
I feel like if Star Wars went with that from the beginning, instead of like, oh, the Force, it penetrates us, it binds us, and offers like no scientific explanation and leans more on the faith-based religion that the Force like originally started as, instead of like, oh, like the Force, yeah, that's just midichlorians. If you
see
have a
that
if
comes
you
from
have a high
fundamental.
midichlorian count, then you can be like you're Force sensitive, instead of like, oh,
See,
oh,
the other reason for metachlorians existing, and why I will argue for them, is because it's partially to say that the Republic era, right? So the era of the Jedi and stuff was a bigger, more forward-thinking era. It was an era of science and of this great artistic thing and of the Jedi, right? So they knew the Jedi. There were thousands, hundreds of thousands of Jedi, right?
mm-hmm.
Or there were tens of thousands of Jedi who all knew how their religion worked. There was the Republic that had giant scientists, and they wanted more of this. Now, in that, in within the context of the prequels, it makes sense that they have that over the originals, which was Obi-Wan trying to teach Luke very, very quickly how the Force worked. He didn't have time to be like, okay, this is scientifically how this works. He had to be like, okay, I have to give this idiot kid a crash course on how the fucking Force works, how to tap into the Force. He doesn't even have to. He doesn't even tell him how it works. He's just like, this is how you use it. There's like no time because it's in this era of things about the Force are repressed. The Force is pushed down because the Emperor wants to be the only one with access to it, the only one who knows how it works, how to use it properly. It's just the Emperor and Vader who are allowed this power. So it actually works. It's more mystical because everything about it's hidden, and Obi-Wan and Yoda don't have time to go and give the scientific explanation. That's not important to what they need to do. In the era of the Republic, it is important to know that because that's how they tell people about how things work. So there's a difference between the mysticism thing of the originals and the more like advanced or more forward-thinking era of the prequels, where it's supposed to feel like it's this more enlightened era and there's no repression of the Empire. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I just feel like if they just kept the more fantasy aspect of the force instead of trying to explain it away, I think it would be. I mean, it doesn't really matter to me, but there's like that little snippet of like fantasy that's there. Like, imagine if they just tried to explain like magic and all the shit that happens in like Lord of the Rings, then it kind of loses it loses its luster a little bit.
Not really. Tolkien
As
genuinely
opposed
did
to
explain it.
not like just it's there as like like how it's handled in the original like the original movies.
See the thing with Lord of the Rings, as you bring it up, Tolkien explains how magic works. He explains how his system works. He tells you that it's like that it's a lot. It's harder to use. Not anyone can use it. So like a hobbit couldn't use magic. They have little. They have like. They don't have magic. They just have skill. The dwarves don't even really have magic. There's like 2 races in the whole of Tolkien's lore that can actually touch magic, or what would be considered magic, and part of it's just touching. You could explain it away as being able to touch the essence of the universe through music, because the universe was genuinely sung into existence by what was his name? I fucking forgot the god, Tolkien's god. But the elves could touch that, and the wizards were just straight up angels. Like they were just a form of angel. They weren't even like really a species. Gandalf is just an angel, and Balrogs were just other angels that kind of got corrupted.
Ooh, some news I just found right now. Apparently, the new Galactic Legend is gonna be Galactic Legend Pirate King Hondo Ohnaka.
Why would it be that? That is a weird choice.
Because this era they've been talking about like doing more pirates, and they added the new pirate faction when they put in the robot from Skeleton Crew.
It's true, but you'd also think that add the main pirate character from Skeleton Crew too.
Yeah, I would have liked to see the wolf dude, but or like the Jedi guy.
Yes. Maybe they're still coming.
Yeah, maybe. I just feel like when it comes to like Star Trek, things are like explained scientifically. It's like a more realistic show, and then in Star Wars, it leans more on the fantasy side.
More you're not wrong on it doing that, but the problem with Star Trek is a lot of the like science is more gobbledygook stuff. I mean, it's all gobbledygook. It's like, it's just technobabble that's for science fiction, right?
Yeah.
The only reason Star Trek feels more is they use more like science that's linked to like real world stuff, right? And Star Wars is like it has a system of something that's not within our world that we know or can touch, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh,
so
man.
It starts feeling because everyone starts thinking about it too hard, and starts going, but this, and then eventually just feels like nitpicking, because you can suspend your disbelief for someone, for an order of knights who can all use magic, but you can't suspend your disbelief for they understand exactly how their bodies interact with it and connect to it.
I mean, maybe if they just started with that from the beginning of Star Wars, then I wouldn't really have a problem with it.
Yeah, but also you sound like somebody who's older than me, and you're not. Because you sound like the fans who watched it back in the 70s, right? And I watched it from episode 2. So to me, hearing Metachlorians, I was like, that makes sense. I watched it like that, and that always was how it was to me. And then you sound like someone who never ever saw the prequels. And I'm like,
I mean, I probably watched. Actually, no. I grew up on the on the originals because I played. There were some games that I just like I played to death. Like there was one Star Wars game that took place on Endor, and it was just like a speeder chase scene, and it had like the Battle of Hoth, uh, Battle of Hoth,
Star Wars
Endor.
Starfighter?
I think so. I think it was that one. And then it also had the things with Dagobah. You had to like do platforming and not. You had to like do some button mashing to get like the Luke's X-wing out of the swamp. I think it was.
Okay.
I think it was that or like
might have been
Rogue
something else then.
Rogue Squadron.
There was a Rogue Squadron game back in the days.
Yeah, but I grew up on like the original movies, not like the. I also grew up with
You
the
grew up on
prequels,
games
but
before that,
but I watched like the original movies before like the prequels. Growing up.
I mean, I started with episode 2, and then I loved them all. So, I mean, I guess, but like, also, the way you argue for it is very funny to me because you don't sound. Because the way I know the way you actively argue for stuff you like, and then you sound more like you sound like an internet troll artist. You don't sound like yourself when you're arguing for it, and it's very funny to me.
How do I sound like an internet troll artist?
Because okay, so what you sound like is one of those guys who's on Star Wars YouTube, who goes and complains about it, who complains about like metachlorians, but then all your points are like almost verbatim the same as every guy who's ever argued against it. And I'm like, okay, you tend to argue things a bit more about like when you argue for something, right, Chris? You tend to be like, I liked it. And that tends to be where you start. But then the way you argued for this was more like weirdly verbatim to like the weird dudes on the internet who all argue against the prequels who did back in like the 2010s before the sequels came out and all the hate like shifted forwards to those.
Yeah, maybe.
Chris, you there?
Yeah, I'm still here.
I was waiting for you to like reply. Oh no. Chris is gone, chat. He died. He's gone.
I didn't die.
Bring him back.
I'm still here. I mean, I maybe it's just me not really explaining things very well, but that's just how I feel when it comes to the midichlorians and stuff. At the end of the day, I mean, if they expand more on the midichlorians, I'm not really gonna cry about it. I mean, I'll just watch the stuff and enjoy it. But that's just how I feel.
Also, think about like the eras where they talk about midichlorians, right? So, in the era of the Jedi and the Republic, right before the Empire, they talk about midichlorians. They come up a few times in Clone Wars, and they come up a few times in the prequel movies. They don't come up again in the sequels, where a lot of that knowledge is lost. But also, it still feels like the filmmakers didn't like or hated the prequels because they just feel like they ignored that they existed and don't even acknowledge them much, which is irritating for me because I'm like, they still happen. The Clone Wars was a big thing for everyone. The most acknowledgement the prequel era gets from the sequels is Ahsoka's voice at one point in Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah.
Which to me is still very annoying, and I feel like it's just like not acknowledging George Lucas.
Also hearing like Ahsoka's voice and like that just makes me think that she just ends up dying or something. Cause we hear all the other Jedi's voices and then they're confirmed like dead. So does that like semi-confirm like Ahsoka like dies at the time of those ones?
I mean, maybe, but also Lindy brings up a point in chat about the people who complain about midichlorians sounding like Christians who lose their minds with like the Big Bang Theory, and it's like, according to Lindy, she's found that Let There Be Light and the Big Bang are like virtually the same kind of idea.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, yeah, it's weird. I don't understand. But like, back to your point. Wait, what was your point again? My brain has now run off in 3 different directions. I apologize, Chris.
About what?
Your last point. What was your last point?
About Ahsoka being dead in like the sequel trilogy?
Yeah. There's like 2 ways I can think of where she could not be dead. There's mind walking, which is a technique that's in Legends that Luke learned, where he could like leave his body and communicate across the galaxy, or just so he could communicate across the galaxy or go and meet his. At one point, he went and met his then dead wife. But you would leave your body completely behind, which is dangerous because doing that also could mean if you get this weird. It's mostly for Force users, but if you leave your body using this method, you kind of get this sense of euphoria and power, so it becomes hard to like return to your body.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a lot of weird stuff to do it, and I just think it's kind of cool to have the thing link up back to. So that's one. Oh, fuck, I lost my train of thought there. You could see it in real time, chat. You could see in real time my brain going, "You're going in this direction." Oh, okay, I've given up on that train of thought. I'm gonna jump off this bridge and go somewhere completely different now. Oh my god, that was so dumb. Anyway, back to what was I thinking again? I was thinking about something useful. I don't know. It'll come back to me. Chris, what's your next point?
I wonder if they're gonna go into like more of Ahsoka's fate in season 2.
Oh no, they are. There's one thing though that a lot of fans who are into like the old Legends post Return of the Jedi lore, including myself, are really hoping they bring in, which is Abeloth.
Oh yeah, you mentioned that during the last one.
Yeah. So she is
the mother.
Scary as shit, dude. The mother is scary as shit, and she's worse because she can like take on any form she wants, including like loved ones you lost, especially if she met them, because then she'll just fucking absorb them. You're like, what? Yeah, that is.
And you said that it's like confirmed that they're bringing Abeloth into this for the show, right?
Well, it's not. No, it's not confirmed as far as I'm aware yet. It's just more heavily implied, given a lot of the stuff that's happening. It's more implied that she's coming, but there's no guarantee that she's coming. Like, they might do something completely different with the Mortis Gods, but it's heavily implied in a lot of fans, because Dave Filoni has a habit of bringing in a lot of like legend stuff, that a lot of fans are going, is he going to bring Abeloth? Is he going to do the most insane possible choice and bring in Abeloth, which would be super cool to expanding like the Force into being even more mystical and kind of insane?
Yeah.
Because bring Abeloth would be kind of akin to bringing in fucking Cthulhu in terms of what she's like for characters.
Oh man.
Like in the main storyline of Fate of the Jedi, right? It starts with a character named Valen Horn genuinely becoming completely, and I mean completely and utterly convinced that his mother, who he'd been in the room with like seconds before, like they'd been talking to each other normally, he randomly becomes completely certain that she's been replaced with a complete duplicate. And he goes on like a weird rampage through the galaxy before he's stopped. And it's entirely because of Abeloth, but he's completely convinced. Also, yeah, Lindy asked if you've seen the movie Flow. Sorry, I was just checking chat. I was on my roll talking about how fucked up Abeloth is. It's a movie about a cat. It has
that one. I haven't seen it, but I've heard that it got like I think it got nominated for an award or something.
I think it got nominated for like an animated Oscar or something. Or it might have been an Emmy.
Flow won Best Animated Feature and also nominated for Best International Feature. Ooh.
As an Oscar or?
Oh, it got a
And the
Golden
Oscars,
Globe Award for Best
oh,
Animated
Golden Globe,
Feature
there we go.
Film. Nice.
Dude,
That's
it was
cool.
fucking beautiful.
Did you cry during it?
No, but I very, very rarely straight up cry. There's like I just remember watching and being like, that was a very, very beautiful thing to watch.
God,
I have different.
what was the thing that you said on during the last thing when we were doing the tier list? You mentioned that you always cry during a specific scene in a Star Wars movie.
Revenge of the Sith.
Oh yeah,
It's
yeah.
the immolation scene where Anakin like burns and fully becomes Vader.
Mm-hmm.
That speech always gets me crying. And then I don't think there is another scene in any of Star Wars that actually gets me to like feel as strongly as that scene.
Is it what about Luke talking to Vader?
That
At the
doesn't
end?
get me emotional in the same way. The other scene that gets me close to that emotional is probably the end of Return of the Jedi, where Luke gets to see his father as a ghost.
Ah, yeah.
That's probably the other one, but it's like a very different emotion.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like sad. It's like happy tears, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. Sorry, but now can't
Wait.
unsee
Which gaff joke?
the
Which
gaff joke. I saw it on AC yesterday. Discord. Okay. All right. So AC's gonna tell us the gaff joke, and then we're gonna go ahead and head out.
I know what this joke is. This joke is stupid as hell. It's very much. It's literally just a reference of you have become the very thing you swore to destroy. You are the chosen one. You were meant to destroy the dark trees, not eat them. I'm like, oh my god. Oh my god, that's so funny. It's just an Anakin reference. It's like in within the context of Revenge of the Sith, that scene gets me crying in Revenge of the Sith. The context of this, it's got me fucking cackling. I'm like, this is the stupidest thing I've ever read in my life. You've got to head out to an appointment, right?
Yeah, I have a basically at home voice or not voice, like a Zoom call doctor's appointment. But for those listening at home, thank you guys for listening and / watching. To us mainly be looking at a Star Wars map most of this podcast.
Yeah, looking at a map of the Star Wars galaxy and yapping for like an hour and a half, entirely about random Star Wars nonsense that crops our minds. And also, guys, you advocate for more of Abeloth. Abeloth is terrifying. Abeloth is awesome, and Abeloth will probably scare the shit out of Chris if they actually do it right. She will be the scariest fucking thing in Star Wars. I have doubts though that they can nail her, but like if they do, scariest shit ever. Anyway, thanks for joining us, and we shall be heading the fuck out because Chris has got to be a responsible adult. And... Yes,
I do. We will catch you guys next week. Hopefully we'll have more like planned topics to talk about. But until
probably not because we always end up yapping.
But until then, also Ironheart, the new Marvel show came out today. First 3 episodes. I don't know if you want to do a watch along with of that on Friday, AC, because I'm off Friday. But I would really like to do something with that.
I haven't watched. I don't know Ironheart at all. I haven't seen Wakanda Forever, so I haven't even met her. I have no context for her whatsoever.
Yeah, I'm guessing they'll have like a little like stinger, like basically explaining like who Riri Williams is. But if not, I can just tell you what happens to her in Wakanda Forever.
I'll probably ask. I still feel bad that I haven't seen it, but like I just had no interest in watching most Marvel movies.
Mm-hmm. After
like Spider-Man Far From No Way Home, was it No Way Home? whatever the last Spider-Man movie was.
Yeah, No Way Home.
I just kind of stopped. I don't know. I just lost interest and then just didn't feel the urge to watch them anymore.
Yeah.
Like, I still haven't seen Falcon and the Winter Soldier. It's just, I was like, I don't care enough to go try and watch it anymore.
You should definitely watch Thunderbolts: Last New Avengers. It's really good.
Probably. I do kind of want to watch Thunderbolts. It's the only one I've felt some urge to watch, but the rest I'm like, if I don't ever see them, it will mean nothing to me. Anyway.
Yeah, we will.
Thank you for watching.
Yeah.
You guys have been awesome.
See you guys next week. Bye, guys. Bye, bye, bye.
Bye, Johnny.
Stop recording. There we go.
Nice.
All right. For those watching the live stream, once I'm done with the doctor's appointments, I will be doing some more date everything. If you guys want to stick around in like an hour or so, we will be doing that.
I will be doing none of that. If I stream again, it'll be tomorrow, and I'll be like editing my YouTube videos.
Yeah, that's fair. All right, for those watching, thank you guys. Thank you guys for watching. We will see you in an hour, and for AC for podcast stuff, we'll see next week. If not Friday, depending on how he feels about Ironheart. Yeah, but until then, see you guys.